Hey guys. Yeah, the leg workout was pretty good. We started out with leg press, and yeah, it feels pretty good. Trying more and more to kind of like progressively overload. We're getting to the point now to where the weight's starting to increase a little bit. Before we were doing 2 plates and I was hitting like 11, 12 reps. And so that was kind of my cue that, okay, we need to start increasing the weight, maybe get that like targeted rep range down back to like 9, maybe 8 on the last set, and then slowly work our way back up to where we're getting like 11 or 12, and then we'll increase the weight again. That's kind of been like my format for like, that's been like the schedule for how I increase the weight. I'll basically pick a weight that I can do for 8 to 9 reps, and then I will stick with that weight until it becomes 11 to 12, and then increase the weight until we're back to 8 or 9 reps, so on and so forth. But didn't get to do hack squat today, which, you know, in the moment I was like, man, what am I gonna do? Nothing was really open that was like a similar movement that I really wanted to target. All the squat racks were taken, and that's pretty much the only squat machine that I really like. So, but then I was thinking, I was like, you know what, look, we do 2 working sets of hack squat. Is it really gonna make that big of a difference if I do 6 working sets of quads today instead of 8 working sets of quads today? And obviously the answer is no. So it's fine. It's not that big of a deal, but you know, just something that I kind of had to think of in the moment and just kind of like remind myself. But yeah, and then leg extensions were pretty good. Really loving leg extensions. I don't know why. They're just, I swear that and leg press are like the main reason why my quads have grown. Just being able to control the eccentric so much and like pause and then actively contract my quads, I think is like the main reason why they've been able to grow. But and then, yeah, we finished off with hamstring curls, seated hamstring curls, which those are great. Those are like my staple. I basically do 2 hamstring exercises. I do a seated hamstring curl or a lying hamstring curl if the seat is not open, and then some form of an RDL. I don't really mess around with any other stuff. Those are what works for me, and for days afterwards my hamstrings are just absolutely shot. And then yeah, I didn't film calves, but calves are getting hit even if it's off camera. We're hitting them like 3 or 4 times a week, which is pretty nice. So now, because it was legs today, I felt like I needed a bit of a treat, and because I need to reward myself for working hard and hitting legs. And this morning I weighed myself, and we were 188 pounds. So that means like in a week I've lost like almost like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. So what we're having today for a treat is Ben & Jerry's ice cream, my absolute favorite. If that is like, if I'm like in a cheat meal mode, if I'm in a cheat meal mood, my go-to is ice cream. I mean, I will absolutely destroy a pint of ice cream. It is by far like my favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite like cheat meal food. But yeah, so we're gonna down this, and then yeah, I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about something that was kind of going through my head that I wanted to kind of expand on for just a bit. So I was sitting here editing the leg workout footage that you guys just saw, and kind of got me thinking about the change in perspective that I've had about structuring my workout since I've been really leaning into bodybuilding. And one of the main things, especially for legs, was the concept of stimulus to fatigue ratio. And this is kind of like this is a very kind of technical term for the most part than most people would probably be used to when it comes to like figuring out how to work out, to figure out what that meant and then how I can apply it to myself. And so in context of legs, this is where it really applied. But it was basically, what it means is you want to be able to choose exercises that stimulate the muscle that you're targeting the most with the least amount of fatigue that you can recover from in the long run, but then also that doesn't fatigue you enough that you cannot continue your workout and complete all of your goals that you are wanting to hit for that day. And so this was something that I really had to deal with, because coming from a powerlifting background, where you're doing lots of squats, lots of deadlifts, just complete central nervous system destruction, and it's really effective for strength, but it's not so effective for muscle growth, in my experience at the very least. Being as like quads are a lagging body part for mine, and I have to really stimulate them to get growth, I can't just rely on doing squats and deadlifts and kind of like the generic exercises and get, quad muscle growth as kind of like a byproduct or like a secondary effect of doing those exercises. I have to really focus. And so that's where the stimulus to fatigue ratio really came in for me. And I really started to lean in on exercises like the leg press, leg extensions, and to a certain extent the hack squat. There's a give and take for that. I'm working in a fixed plane of motion, which may or may not be great for something like glute or lower back, because those are generally muscles that we use to stabilize ourselves. Adductors and abductors, you get that, don't get me wrong, you definitely get that from hack squat and leg press and all those exercises, but not nearly as enough stimulus as you would in a free barbell standing squat, in my experience. I don't know what exercise science has to say about that, but at the very least in my experience, that's what I've noticed. So yeah, I don't know. It just got me thinking about that today whenever I was doing legs, because I was just thinking about the total volume, and I was just like, man, I used to do so much more, but then I had to think about, how effective were my sets? Was I really going to technical / mechanical failure with each set? I think I was, but when I look back on it, I probably was just going to a rep where it slowed down a considerable amount and I was out of breath, which is more indicative probably of my central nervous system or CNS fatigue than it was like actual like muscle stimulus fatigue and like really being able to feel the burn of the lactic acid. So yeah, it's always I don't know, it's always interesting to kind of share these thoughts with you guys and just kind of like be able to express like what I'm thinking, especially while I'm working out, into the camera and into a video for you guys to see. And hopefully if anybody sees this, that it's interesting, or at the very least you can get like my perspective on it. If any of you guys have any questions or ideas about topics that you want me to talk about, I've really enjoyed this format of these last two videos where I kind of do like a normal mini vlog, but then also go into like a miniature kind of monologue about a really specific topic in lifting and bodybuilding. So leave anything down below that you think would be pretty interesting, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.